What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? What's happening? Steeler Nation. If you're like me, you're looking at this game and you are laughing. And that's what you're hearing in the background. Let me turn it down. There's no need to really watch anymore, right? I'm just taking a quick peek. But hey, we're going to get into it. I'm not going to be long tonight. Told my lovely wife I wouldn't take up our Friday night. Got a couple things that we need to get done tonight. I'm taking her out tomorrow night. We're going to do a stayover. I'm not going to say where in case she's sneaking and listening, but I'm doing a little spend the night situation. Her birthday is on Tuesday, but we're going to do some stuff here tomorrow and over the weekend. So told her I wouldn't be too long tonight. So let's get into it. But of course, as you see there in the title, Steelers winners and losers tonight. All right, we're going to talk about that, but really quick, let me just say what's up. Let's say what's up to the early commenters. I already spoke to Mr. Winningham via text, but how you doing again, sir? And look at this, man. As I look over here, I see that the Panthers have another 1st and goal. We're going to talk about it. And again, I'm not overreacting, guys. This is preseason. I'm definitely going to address that. But what's up to Steelers Freak? What's up to Leroy Smith, Steelers baby, my good buddy Ron Simpson? How you doing, sir? Who else we got up in here? Come on. A lot of you guys commented right much there. Asloff Plays, Trey, or Dr. Trey, 88. Big Gerbil, Ancient Ox, Real 1972, Y Diggy. What's up, Y Diggy? Hello, Miss the Real Missy. How you doing this evening? How are you doing this evening? 007 in the building. Jordan Mid, Jay Waller, Jack Bauer, Robert Westover, Tristan Cooper. And I believe we'll cut it right there. Jordan Mid said, can we start cuts tonight? That would be nice, right? And shout out to my good brother Kenyon in the building. All right, man, let's get to it. I can't even talk. I was about to say, as you can tell, guys, not a whole lot to talk about here. I just saw, looks like Carlos Davis might have made a decent play here on 2nd and goal. And you guys know, I have the IPTV situation, internet TV, as far as my cable. So I'm probably a little behind some of you guys that might be still watching right now. Just to give you an idea, right now it's 2nd and goal. It's 4 minutes and 20 seconds. 4 minutes and 20 seconds right now. They're about to snap the ball, and that's what I'm seeing. So like I said, I'm probably delaying or I'm behind quite a few of you guys. But, quite a few of you actually watch cable TV the same way I do. So maybe we're in the same boat. But anyway, I'm going to go through my list. I'm going to go through my list of winners and losers. And, these are just the guys that jumped out or lack of thereof. Maybe some of these guys didn't jump out watching this game because they didn't do much. So that's what I'm considering winners and losers. I'm not overreacting tonight. It's preseason, folks. It's funny. It is funny. I saw so many people on Twitter losing their mind. I was picking with my father-in-law, Leonard. I was at his house at halftime, watched the first half over there, and it's so funny to me, man, how some of you Steelers fans, man, including him, I was picking with him, you guys just overreact. Like, first of all, this is the first thing you have to realize. The Steelers' offense and defense that we saw tonight, particularly in the first half, was going up against, like, number one guys, right? Sam Darnold. Like, that was pretty much their starting offense, minus guys like Christian McCaffrey, but that was pretty much their number one unit. Same thing on the defense. Like, guys like Brian Burns was still out there. You know what I mean? And it's like, you're judging these guys, that some of our guys that were out there are going to be rotational pieces, but some of those guys ain't even going to make the team. And you are losing your mind about how bad they were playing, which I get it. We're supposed to be looking at individuals and seeing what they can do and what they can't do. But in no shape, way, or form was I judging this game. But again, like I said, some people in Steeler Nation are highlight watchers. They don't look at the minutia, the details. So it is what it is. We brought up a 4th and goal, so we trying to hold them, huh? But anyway, let's get to it, man. First of all, let's talk about the injuries. Marcus Allen seemed to have had something happen with his leg. He had his leg wrapped, right leg, if I'm not mistaken. Did not return to the game. Why is that important? Because, again, what have I been talking about? I wanted to know who would end up being the inside linebacker core. Now, once we've added Joe Schobert, we already know who's going to be the top two guys, Schobert and Bush. Robert Spillane, which I'll talk about him a little bit later, he's going to make the team more than likely. And then it was Marcus Allen for the most part, right? It was Marcus Allen for the most part, and then we're talking about guys like Buddy Johnson and UG3, and that's pretty much it. So if Marcus Allen is injured, depending on what his injury is, it's going to be very interesting to see if we continue if we continue as like status quo and we keep 5 inside backers, who those guys are going to be, right? You expect Buddy Johnson to make the team because he's done enough to be a guy that you keep on the squad as far as a backup piece. But UG3, has he done enough? A lot of us had said that UG3 was on his way out. You know, he didn't do enough this preseason. Hasn't done enough since he's been with us. So if Marcus Allen's injury is at any point significant, even if it doesn't keep him out the entire season, if it just keeps him out so for a few weeks or what have you, that's going to be interesting as far as how we're going to go with the the initial 53, because that 53 can change. Really quick, guys, I'm going to just peek over here and see if they pick up this 4th down. I'm just curious, and then after that, I'm going to cut the TV off. Let me see. Must have been a timeout or something taken. Are they going to kick a field goal? I don't know. I'll look back in a minute. Another injury that we might want to keep an eye on for those of you guys that was in this guy's particular fan base, his fan club, Josh Dobbs. Josh Dobbs went down. Looks like he tweaked something. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but it looks like it may have been a lower body injury as well, a leg, an ankle, or knee, or what have you. Went to the medical tent. Did not return to the game, as we all saw. Dwayne Haskins had to come back in the game. It looks like we did, prevent them from getting the 4th down there. And we're going to get the ball again. And, Dwayne Haskins is probably just going to hand the ball off here with only 3 minutes and 22 seconds left. But, yeah, let's keep an eye on what's going on with Dobbs, man. That could be interesting. It could be a very, very, very interesting, series of events there. And I am just going to take a quick peek, man, while you guys chop it up with each other. Chop it up amongst each other, guys. Let me watch really quick just to see if Haskins happens to pass the football again. Here's an end around to Ray McCloud. Doesn't get much. And I know some people were wondering why Ray McCloud was still out there. Well, we haven't seen much of Ray as a traditional receiver, right? So I wasn't, and I am not still, I'll say, current, because he's still playing right now. I'm not upset that he's still out there. He needs as much work as possible as a receiver. You know what I mean? So I'm not mad at the fact that he's out there. And here's a handoff to Benny Snell. Tries the reverse field. Nothing happens. And I'm pretty sure nothing's going to happen here on 3rd down as well. After this 3rd down, I promise you guys I will cut the TV off. But let me keep it moving. I could do 2 things at once, right? Let's start off with some of the winners. And again, this is not overall analysis. It's just first glance. I think James Pierre was pretty sharp tonight. Didn't see anything that I would be overly concerned about. I think James Pierre looked like James Pierre. Okay? That's how I feel. I don't have anything negative to say about Pierre. I think it's evident that we're more than likely, like we talked about on Tuesday, more than likely, unless the Steelers go outside the organization, it looks like their comfort level at this moment is they're going to have to rely on Sutton being in the inside and Pierre and Hayden being on the outside when we're in sub package. Because clearly we know what type of guy they want in the slot. That guy's not on the roster right now, unfortunately, with a guy like Antoine Brooks Jr. getting injured, as well as Marlette nursing an injury. And honestly, you know, from what I've seen out of Marlette, I know it's just preseason. I haven't seen a full game of him. You know, he doesn't, you know, excite me in the nickel. So it's like I'm still a little bit concerned. I think I'm actually as concerned as I was coming into training camp. You know, Antoine Brooks Jr. was showing some promise, but you're injured. You know, so yeah, I don't know. You know what I mean? Let's see. Let me cut the TV down. I'm only leaving it on because I just want to see if Haskins happens to pass on third down, just to see another pass from him. I doubt it. But yeah, James Pierre to me looked sharp tonight for the most part. The next guy I have on my winners list, Bugs. Isaiah Bugs played well, and I'm going to read you the comments, guys, the way I actually took it. I wrote down here, Bugs played well tonight. Bugs got a nice tackle on a 3rd and 3. I noticed it brought up a 4th and 2. And the Steelers were able to get off of the field, able to prevent the first down. So it was good to see that. And like I said, man, Isaiah Bugs showed his head a couple times, you know, made a couple plays, enough for me to notice it. Did what he normally does, you know, clogging up the middle. So Bugs made some relatively decent plays tonight, man. I think he played well. He was all over the field, you know, for a nose tackle, if you will. You know, he was chasing the ball down and stuff like that. So I think he had a good showing. Here's another guy that I think, again, man, I'm curious to see what we're going to do with him, man. Jameer Jones. You know, I wrote down here, you know, he got a special teams tackle on the first punt. He did miss a tackle for a loss on the Panthers' first drive. So, you know, I did see that. He had an opportunity to get a TFL. But then he was making a lot of tackles early, man. In general, he was making tackles. If you go back and watch the game early on, a lot of times you would see Jameer Jones was all over it. He also got a sack on Donald to end the first quarter. He also had a couple, I counted at least 2, special teams tackles, right? Maybe more than that. So Jameer Jones is making a case for himself, man. I know he's still in the competition with Cassius Marsh. We'll see. You know, Cassius Marsh really hasn't done anything outside of that first, you know, that the first time when I came back and said, you know, he played relatively well. I haven't seen him do much since then. He's been Cassius Marsh, right? It hasn't been anything that, you know, made me really take a look and peek and, you know, anything that jumped off the screen. All right, here's the 3rd down play. Let me see. Looks like Haskins is going to throw it. Let's see what happens here. Okay, drops back in shotgun. Okay, finds Ray McCloud, and Ray McCloud. Okay. Relatively decent pickup there. So, okay, let me continue to watch this then. Let's see. It's like a 2-minute offense, right? And I'm not going to look in the comments because, like I said, I'm lagging. I'm behind you guys because I'm streaming the game. I don't want to see in text what happens. I want to see it with my own eyes and let me experience it the same way you guys experienced it. Okay, looks like, was that another throw to Anthony Johnson there? Show the replay. 1 minute and 29 seconds left. I missed that play. I think it was a throw to Anthony Johnson. But I missed that play talking to you guys. And the only reason why I'm looking at this again, I want to see Haskins again, you know, before I give my final thoughts on his night. It looks like he's definitely improving his night. You know, this kid Blah makes a catch. All right, another, 8 yards or so? So good thing Haskins came back in the game because just on this one drive, he's playing better than he played the entire first half. And I'm talking about from a yardage standpoint. I'm going to get into Haskins. Don't worry, guys. Okay, finds Ray McCloud, and it's a touchdown. All right. This is what I needed to see out of Dwayne Haskins. Now, granted, he's no longer playing against the first team, but I just want to see some poise out of him. Steps in the pocket here, finds Ray McCloud. And again, like I said, it's good to see Ray McCloud playing as a traditional receiver. All right. Now, that was a nice drive, Dwayne Haskins. Now, I have to reassess what I was going to say about you. Still going to give you the same thoughts, but now I have to add that into the mix. Okay, I can cut the game off now. Nothing else to see here, folks. All right. All right. I'm gonna get to Haskins in a minute. Let me continue with my winners and losers. Buddy Johnson. Saw him make quite a few special teams tackles. Saw him make a couple, in-game tackles as well. But again, the key thing that you want to look for guys who are going to be your backup linebackers is you want to see them be able to play special teams. I mean, again, you guys and me, we all of us included, we can like whoever we like. But at the end of the day, what is that? Okay, something was jumping on my screen there, guy. Thought something was happening with my green screen. I don't know. All right, let me get back to it. I'm being distracted here. Listen, you can like whoever you like. I can like whoever I like. At the end of the day, you have to assess the situation based on what you think the Steelers are going to do, right? We know if you are a backup linebacker, you're going to play special teams. Sometimes, well, often, backup running backs play special teams. We've seen Benny Snell do it, right? Backup tight ends play special teams. And hey, we've even seen Henry Mondo and Carlos Davis playing special teams. So that's the reason why I'm emphasizing special teams. Buddy Johnson was showing up on special teams. Again, he's a later round draft pick, not in the top 3. I think he has probably secured a spot. He's a guy that you can still groom, and we'll see what he turns into. He's not going to be a starter. I'm definitely comfortable with him at this moment being the number 4, or the number 3. I don't know if he can overtake Spillane. I don't think it's going to take much for him to do that. No disrespect to Spillane, but we'll see. But I think he had a good showing tonight. And here's another guy. Didn't I just talk about this guy? I swear, I just talked about this guy. Remember what I said on the last show? I said this dude has kind of been a sleeper. Nobody's really been talking about how well he's been playing. Chris Wormley. Chris Wormley showed up a few times tonight as well. Got a nice pressure on Sam Darnold to force a 4th and 16. And I even made the notation here saying, look, I just talked about this guy recently that he was a sleeper. I think I just talked about that on Tuesday. And what I mean by sleeper is just saying another guy that seems to be playing well on the defensive line that we don't really talk about. He's had a pretty decent showing this preseason. And I know some people had already written him off as well. It's funny how we be so ready to throw away backup players. That cracks me up. I swear we're spoiled Steelers fans. We want every man. We want from number 1 all the way to 53 to be a superstar, all-pro, and Hall of Famer. That's how we act at Steelers Nation. I tell you. Let's keep it moving, man. Isaiah Loudermilk was semi-quiet in his time, playing. Again, I got to go back and watch the game at least 2 more times where I can really hone in on guys. This is just a first glance. But got a sack late in the 4th quarter. Make a play. When you make plays like that, even if it's just one play, it stands out. So he is a winner tonight. And then I also put an honorable mention. This guy was not a winner tonight, but I'm just going to acknowledge that it was a nice play by Lamont Wade, forcing that fumble. Unfortunately, UG3, they say his foot was on the line. I think it was very, very close. But, unfortunately, they said his foot was on the line, so we didn't get the ball at that point, But, again, you got to acknowledge it was a nice tackle by Wade to force the ball out. Now let's get to the losers. And it could be more losers. These are just a couple people that I got here. The entire backup corner / DB crew. Entire. And that goes from the corners to the safeties. The entire backup depth chart in the secondary. Entire. Starting with Justin Lane on back. And like I said, from corners through safeties, all of them were losers tonight. Because nobody did anything significant. Nobody forced their way onto the roster. Nobody made it an easier decision, in my opinion, especially at the cornerback position, where there's a spot open now because of guys like Antoine Brooks Jr., who was going to be playing as a corner this year, quote unquote, in the slot. Nobody stepped up. Nobody made this decision easier to say, okay, we can go with this guy. He looks like he has some flash. We have a spot open. Nobody did that. Once you got past Pierre, that was it. Because remember, there was no Hayden tonight. There was no Sutton. Nobody. And I'm not going to consider Pierre a backup because more than likely, we already know how it's going to turn out. So he's probably going to be playing quite often. Even if we do go on the outside of the organization and get a guy that can come in here and play the slot and keep Sutton on the outside, you're going to see James Pierre in dime packages and things of that nature. So I don't consider him, quote unquote, a backup. But everybody behind him, losers. Every last one of them. Y'all ain't show me nothing tonight to make me want to plead your case. And particularly, here's the next loser, even though he's included in that bunch, Trey Norwood. Trey Norwood dropped the interception, hit him right in the breadbasket. Okay, that's one thing. He also missed the tackle on Hubbard. Gave up a fairly decent run, and I know he came in at the angle he came in on. I get it. Guys miss tackles, but you got to point it out, right? Missed the tackle in that situation, and it was in the second quarter. And I made this special note as well. He's still a little suspect with tackling. It showed up again this week. Last week, you remember the last game? Didn't I just say on Tuesday that Trey Norwood was starting to tackle? I can't make this stuff up. Let me take a sip of water. You guys don't mind, right? I can't make this stuff up. Now, Trey Norwood is probably going to make the team. I think so. I think we hold on to him. I'm not throwing him in the trash yet. Again, I'm just judging guys on what I saw tonight. But it's interesting that I was just talking about how his tackling improved in the last preseason game, right? I was just talking about that. And now, here we are in this game. Yeah, very interesting, right? His tackling was suspect tonight. Who else was a loser? Chooks was giving up quite a few pressures tonight. I'm going to go back and analyze the tape, but it was a couple times where I saw he was giving up pressures. A couple times where, pressure was coming right in the face of the quarterback, so I have to put him on the losers list tonight. Robert Spillane. Unfortunately, Robert Spillane, his weaknesses got exposed. Again, you guys know how I do. I don't call any professional athletes trash, bum. I don't do that. I once did that in the past, but as I've matured, I don't do that anymore because I'm going to respect these guys for being professional athletes. I never made it to the NFL, okay? I played football as well. I didn't play on the NFL. I ain't never played in no preseason. I ain't been in nobody's training camp. So as an athlete, I refuse to call these guys trash, right? But what I can say is that they don't play that well for their respective position. They're not the best or not that great in their respective, position. I can say that about Robert Spillane. His weaknesses got exposed tonight. When he had to chase down a running back or he was caught in man coverage, yeah. Got a little exposed there. And it was definitely a nice throw by Sam Darnold to beat Spillane when he, I think he got caught in man coverage. At that time, I believe it was it Moore, number 11, one of those guys. Nice back shoulder throw by Darnold. But again, just the reaction time, and I'm not expecting Spillane to keep up with a guy like that. But I mean, when you down in the red zone, it's a condensed field. So if you react a little faster, maybe you get in better position to defend that. But again, it happens. Everybody gives up touchdowns. But again, you gotta acknowledge that Spillane just didn't. He looked weak in that area tonight in terms of chasing running backs and such. So I got to put him on the losers list. Now here are a couple guys that really just one guy that I put him in the bubble. This is considered the bubble. I don't know if he was a loser or a winner. Shakur Brown didn't do enough for me to say he was a a winner and didn't do enough for me to say he was a loser. But the reason why I have him on the bubble, and I kind of have him in my mind, I'm not going to say he was a loser, but his effort was a loss because I was looking for him to take advantage of the opportunity of now, hey, guy, you might end up being somebody they might have to look to fill a void. You were a guy that even us in the fan base thought maybe he can come in and play slot. Okay? Remember Shakur Brown. There are two guys ahead of you that was fighting for the nickel position, right? Those two guys are injured. Neither one of them played tonight. One of them has been waived injured. So I was looking for him to make some splash, whether it was just being all over the field. Again, I've got to go back and really analyze the tape where I can just watch him. Maybe he had some decent coverages. I just didn't see it. His name wasn't called. I did see a play where he kind of fought through the block and made the tackle on the sideline. I like that. But again, there wasn't enough of those moments for me to feel like he took advantage of it. And that's why I said I didn't put him as a loser or a winner. He was kind of a bubble type guy, right? Now, here's one last loser, man, and I think any chance of him making the team is over now. Matthew Sexton. Man, I feel bad for you, brother. I feel bad for you. Here's two reasons why. Here's the lesser of the two. Ray McCloud went out there and scored a touchdown tonight as a receiver. And that may have been one of the areas where you could have competed with Ray McCloud as a receiver. I saw you make a couple tough catches tonight. But let alone you let Ray quote unquote outplay you in the receiver position. The biggest mark against you is those two muffed fumbles, my brother. Muffed fumbles. Muffed punts. You've tried to fill two punts and muffed them. And that first one, trying to catch it off the bounce. You know how risky that is? I admire your courage. But you know how risky that is to try to field a bounce that you probably shouldn't field because the guys is right there? You got to catch that thing clean. And if you don't, it's a wrap. And we saw how that turned out. Turned the ball over. Can't have that, brother. Can't have that. So for that, sir, I believe you have not made the roster. We'll see what happens with the practice squad. Now, let's keep this in mind, folks. The practice squad will be interesting because we know now they're using the same rules that they used last year in terms of COVID. You know, 2 players can now be more than 2 years, and you can practice squad them. So some of these guys that, you know, are on the fringe, a Jalen Samuels type of dude might end up on the practice squad. You know, Josh Dobbs might find his way back on the practice squad, you know, given the fact if they accept that. But I'm just saying, could be some of those guys that you thought couldn't make it on the practice squad because of eligibility will now be eligible to be on it. So that's going to be interesting. And, you know, the practice squad was bigger, so it's more players. I think it's, 16, I think now, something like that. So I can't wait to see who we decide to keep in that regard, man. But the 53 is interesting. And that's why I'm going to leave it. And after that, you know, I'll get in the chat and see what you guys are saying. Like I told you, this show wasn't going to be that long tonight. But 53 is going to be interesting, man, because, again, as we sit here today, there's still some question marks. Unfortunately, there's still question marks at the nickel spot. Because like all of us have said, more than likely, your best option right now is slide Cam Sutton back inside when you're in nickel or when you're in sub, right? But it definitely seems like the Steelers didn't want to go that way because they didn't really feature that until later. Clearly, they're trying to get a different type of guy. You know, and again, I think it's more of what we saw last year. Mike Hilton was the guy that was able to do the blitzing, and Mike Hilton was the guy that was more of, you know, there and all in your face, more of a dog in the run game. Whereas Cam Sutton would come in when we were expecting more passing situations. So clearly, Cam Sutton isn't the same, you know, versatile type of slot guy where you're going to send him on a blitz and all that. That was more Hilton. And we saw them blitz Brooks Jr. We saw them blitz Marlette. So clearly they're going for that type of style. And they would prefer not to do, Sutton inside. And it's not to say that James Pierre hasn't played well enough to at least get a shot on the outside. I just think that the Steelers want to do something else in the slot position. That's just my thoughts. So we'll see, man. We'll see if they add somebody to the roster, once guys are cut and things like, things of that nature. Let's keep our eyes open to that and see what happens. But other than that, I mean, listen, say what you will about tonight. I don't think it was that bad of a showing as far as expecting anything. I mean, yeah, we got our butts kicked, but I didn't care whether we won or lost this game. And that's what I mean when I say I don't think it was that bad of a showing. Not saying that the gameplay was great. I'm just talking about I don't know what some of you guys came into the game expecting. Like, it's preseason. I don't believe in none of them myths of, the last time the Steelers went undefeated in preseason, they won the Super Bowl. I don't believe any of that because it's preseason. It ain't even the real dogs out there playing. And even that, we was playing with our second and third units against like pretty much starters for Carolina. So it was automatically a lopsided affair. You know what I'm saying? We had a few starters out there. Of course, we had a couple of the linemen out there, but then we didn't have the projected started five. So it was so many different things. Last thing I'm going to talk about here is Haskins, man. Listen, didn't play that well, I thought, during his time out there. And we're talking about the first half. Part of it was protection, because we saw him try to, scramble and have to evade guys a couple times. Part of it was some bad decisions on his part. And what I mean by decisions is just a little late, making his decision. Because I think on that pass to Watt, it was severely behind Derek Watt. But it looks like he might have been trying to go to Ebron behind him. And if that was the case, he saw that a little late. That first throw to Claypool on the sideline, he was late on that throw. So he wasn't as sharp tonight, even with his dink and dunk game. Because I seen some people out there saying, oh, man, this is all this guy has. Maybe. But at the end of the day, this whole preseason, we've seen him play like that. And he was effective and efficient. So it's like, it's funny. It's like, I tell you, man, sometimes you guys have amnesia when you watch these games, man. It's like from week to week, from play to play. It's like your results bias. But on the flip side, Dwayne Haskins, what he did well, there were moments where he looked poised in the pocket. There were moments when he escaped pressure and eluded pressure or whatever and scrambled to get a first down or at least, get it to a manageable situation or avoid a sack. There were a couple decent throws that he made early in the game. A couple he made on the run, keeping his head down, his eyes downfield. Those are the things I'm looking for. We just saw, again, I'm glad I didn't cut the TV off when I actually watched it. Looked pretty decent on that drive, right? Looked pretty decent. Stepping into the pocket, making a throw, not panicking. So all I'm saying is I don't know what Dwayne Haskins is going to be or what he's not going to be. But I need some of y'all to keep the same energy when it comes to Dwayne Haskins, right? Up until this game, some people were anointing him the number 2. Y'all remember that? You know who you are. Oh, he's going to be the number 2. Now, all of a sudden, he doesn't look so well in the first half, and people automatically say, man, Mason is clear. And I'm like, how y'all flip-flop so fast? Quarterbacks have bad games. Quarterbacks have good games. What you should do, man, when you're judging these backup quarterbacks for the Steelers, we all know that at this point, we don't know who our franchise quarterback is going to be in the future, right? All you should be doing when you're looking at Rudolph and Dwayne Haskins is there any potential there? Especially Dwayne Haskins. Is there any potential there? Do you see any good that he brings to the table? And if he does, can he improve that? Or do you see that he's terrible? And if that's how you feel, stick with that. But stop flip-flopping every week in every series. It's hilarious to me. And I've been saying all along, I want to see what Dwayne Haskins can do. I said he looked very comfortable in the prior preseason games. Not so much tonight in the first half. So it was good to see him come back and bounce back, albeit he was playing against lesser talent. And y'all know how I feel about preseason. I'm not going to do that because you can only play who you're playing against. I just wanted to see how he performed. So that last drive, it was good that you finished the drive like that and finished the game like that, because maybe that'll be the lasting, the lasting memory that you give, us fans. Like, okay, so there's a little something there. You know what I mean? So it's better than to finish that way than to finish the way you did in the first half. And like they always say, man, one man's misfortune is another man's treasure. Too bad Josh Dobbs goes out and Haskins is able to take advantage of it. And that's it. That's all I got. I don't really have much more to talk about, man. I definitely will. I'll stay here about 4 or 5 more minutes. Like I told you guys, this was a short night, in and out. Thank you, Luis D, man. Round of applause for the donation. Let's throw that out there. I hope it played. Doesn't look like it played. Well, I'm going to make it play. Hold on. There we go. Because I got to give you your flowers. There it is. Round of applause. Thank you very much for that donation, man. I really, really, really appreciate you. Let me read your comment. He says, did Pierre and Dan Moore Jr. Play well enough to be week 1 starters, in your opinion? Didn't see the game. I mean, if everything stays the way it is now, Pierre will quote-unquote start because he's going to be out there. Nickel package will be Hayden, Pierre, and Sutton playing inside. If it stays as it is right now. If the Steelers, by chance, go elsewhere to get a slot, then no. Pierre wouldn't quote-unquote be the starter, but Pierre is still going to play because I think when we go dime and things like that, Pierre will be on the field regardless. Dan Moore Jr., probably not. Because, he primarily played a lot of way he was playing when I saw him. I think he was more so playing right tackle. I'm not going to say he played horrible or anything like that. I just don't know if we're talking about right tackle, if he's played enough to beat out Zach Banner. But we'll see. We'll see. If Zach Banner doesn't play well first game or two, at least it's good to know that we got a little bit of depth on the offensive line. It might not be, great, but we got a slightly decent depth on the offensive line. It appears anyway. We got another donation, man. Appreciate that, Shadow Slayer. Round of applause. He says, I'm glad football is back after what we've been through this year. Amen to that, man. Amen to that. Mr. Winningham says, we need to let Pierre start against the Buffalo Bills because we need someone who can be physical with Stephon Diggs. That is a fact. That is a fact. And I'm going to be honest with you. Because of what Mr. Winningham just said, I would rather take that approach and, let my man Pierre get in his face and chase him. Because I don't know. Yeah, man, that might be our best bet, to be honest. Of course, they're going to move Diggs around. They're going to put him in the slot from time to time. But, yeah, that's an interesting proposition right there, man. I don't think I could disagree with that. Steel City Film Room, he says, Moore and Finney are about all we have as far as depth. Yeah, that's true. Because some of those other guys, the cowards of the world, and, yeah. But you're right. So what we 7 deep. So we 7 deep. So I need to slow my roll a little bit on saying we got depth. Yeah, I feel you. I feel you, Steel City. Still Boy DePoy says our future franchise quarterback is at Liberty University right now. Very possible. Very possible. I'm gonna be watching a lot of that kid this season. What else? Come on, give me a couple more guys, then I'm out of here. Wave Dave says, I low-key want Malik Willis to not ball out so he can fall to us. Don't wish bad on that man, man. Even if it ain't with us, let that man get paid. That man get paid. Real G Lee says, question. Does this offense seem to resemble last year's with just a few motions and different formations? The play calling seems to mirror last year's. Real G Lee, I will say this. Don't have recency bias. And what I mean by that is tonight it looked very vanilla. It looked very vanilla tonight. I think when we opened up a little more in the Hall of Fame game and a little more in the Philly game, and then we kind of scaled it back. I think we're going to see a lot of different things. One thing that you're definitely seeing that we didn't see last year, play action. So I don't know if I could go with you and say that it mirrors last year. No. We're seeing quite a bit of play action. And remember, in the early preseason games, what else were we seeing? Bootlegs and rollouts. We weren't seeing that last year. Now, what will be interesting is it going to look like that with Ben? See, I don't know if Ben is going to be doing bootlegs and things like that as often. But when you think about the way Haskins and, Dobbs was playing earlier in the preseason, yeah, you can see some changes there. And again, it's preseason. Most coaches don't unleash their full offense and full defense in preseason. Think about even when Chip Kelly came in the league. If I remember correctly, he didn't really show all of that in preseason. But you remember when that season started, then they got, they kicked it into gear. What's up, my man Hollywood in the building? Appreciate you coming through to check me out, brother. Let's see. Couple more minutes, guys. Matter of fact, I'm going to tell lovely wife right now I'm wrapping up. She also has to wash some clothes, guys. And like I said, in the man cave, unfortunately, down here in the basement, our washer and dryer is right here in the man cave. And speaking of which, I just thought about this. Tuesday. I may not be able to do a terrible towel on Tuesday, guys. It's my wife's birthday. And, even though I'm doing stuff for her personally this weekend, we're still going to do a little something for her on Tuesday. So let's just say I probably won't do a show. It will more than likely be probably a pre-recorded show, if anything. But just be prepared for it not to be a show. But it's possible that I would try to maybe knock something out on Monday and post a pre-recorded version. But we'll see. Couple more, guys. Couple more. Said he couldn't make Washington's team. Who are you referring to, Ozzy? Who you referring to, Ozzy? Floyd, you already know, bro. You already know. Yeah, we just doing a little minor something tomorrow, man. Because COVID and all that, we can't really. I had some real plans for her, man. Some real plans. We was gonna actually go somewhere where we needed some bags, but due to COVID and all that, I ain't trying to get on the plane and all that kind of jazz. So we're just gonna do something a little more low key. Still an overnight, but do something like that. Gonna take her to a nice dinner at a spot that she hasn't been to. So yeah, gonna have some. You know what else, Floyd? And Bowflex. You remember that? But somebody said terrible Thursday. No, I can't do it on Thursday. You guys know I had to have my other show on Thursday, man, so I can't do it on Thursday. But all right, guys, give me a couple more, man, like literally a couple more, and then we're out of here. All right, no doubt, Real G. No doubt, man. You said let's note that he made that comment and we'll revisit. Yeah, no doubt, man. That's what it's all about, man. It's kind of, talking about some of these things and revisiting them later. Like I said, man, what we all talked about, what I talked about even before training camp, man, who's going to be the nickel corner? And look at how everything has transpired. And now we're right back to, man, what is our secondary going to be like? You know what I mean? And let's hope. And if this happens in the near future, I will find a way to make, to do even if it's an update on my phone or something really quick. Let's hope we hear about TJ Watt soon. Let's hope that, what we heard actually happens and TJ Watt gets that deal done. Yeah, that's a fact, Leonard Green. Haskins is it's funny how we put so much stock in these dudes who are backups. Now, of course, you want your backup. Shout outs to Sam, is it Massett for subscribing. Appreciate that. You definitely want your backups to be capable, but it's like, we put a lot of stock in these guys that you hated at first. You know what I mean? So then it's funny how you judge dudes that you didn't like from the beginning. Yes, Mr. Winningham, he did clear waivers. He's actually on the Steelers IR right now, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he's back on the roster right now. If I'm not, Kenyon just confirmed it also. And so did Steelers cards. All right, I got time for, and this time I mean it, 2 more. And I'm going to read from 2 people that I haven't read from earlier. So the first one here would be Real1972. He said, I would laugh is someone, wait. I think you missed the word, but I'm going to try to figure out. You said, I would laugh. I think you're saying if somehow Haskins makes the team and they trade Mason. Oh, man, that would be hilarious, right? And let's not forget this. How many of you guys watching the show tonight or that will watch this on the replay ain't big on Mason Rudolph either? So we can't win, right? And you guys' eyes, we definitely can't win. Our backup situation is what it is, man. This is why I keep saying, y'all be ready to throw Mason Rudolph out the window. At this point, Mason Rudolph and Dwayne Haskins has to prove that they can be serviceable quarterbacks. And that's just what it is. Here we go. One last one here from Leonardus. He says, Snell should have made the team last year, but he shouldn't have made the team last year, but he did somehow. Okay, Leonardus, I got to stick around for a second, and I want you to answer this question. If Snell didn't make the team last year, who do you replace him with? Benny Snell. Think about the roster last year. Who do you replace Benny Snell with last season? If he didn't make the team. I'm just trying to do running back depth chart in my mind. Yeah. Who's his replacement? Are you saying the Steelers should have drafted a running back? Another one last season? Like earlier? Because if I'm not mistaken, didn't we draft McFarland? That was his rookie year last year, right? Real quick, Leonardus. You said bring in someone. Oh, okay, that's fair. I'm just saying. Who was the guy? I mean, everybody always says bring in some, but who was the guy? Give me a name. That's right, Mr. Winningham. Give me a name. Because, this is something that myself and my father-in-law Leonard debated last year as well. Like, he kept saying, bring somebody. But who? And again, think about the money situation and, we couldn't sign. Like, who were we bringing in that was going to be hands down better than Benny Snell? And that right there is what my man Kenyon just said. People forget about the entire roster and teams, special teams and stuff. You forget about all of that. Everybody always just wants to go for the highlight. And what I mean by that is everybody wants everybody to be top-notch players at every position. And sometimes we're blinded by what else do they bring to the table. Benny Snell was definitely a core special teamer last year. Do y'all not remember that Benny Snell rushed for 100 yards last year? I think he actually did it twice early in the season. Nobody had a problem with Benny Snell when he was a 100-yard rusher. But all of a sudden, when the run game breaks down, right, then everybody turned on our backs and said the backs were trash. Both of those dudes rushed for 100 yards. I'm not sitting here saying that Benny Snell or James Conner are great running backs, but what I do know is they both rushed for 100 yards. We had, if I remember, 4 games, might have even been 5, where we rushed for over 100 yards individually. But then, because we couldn't run the ball later on, everyone said the running backs are trash. Why weren't they trash in the early weeks? He sure is, Knight Rider. I don't think Benny Snell is bad at all. But that's your opinion, Leonardus. That's your opinion. I'm not going to take it away from you. I'm just saying, sometimes I'm going to challenge an opinion with my opinion, and who knows who's right. It's all respect. It's all love. But I feel like sometimes that you guys don't really look at the details. Right? I don't think Benny Snell is bad at all. I really don't. I like Benny Snell. I'm going to be honest with you. I like Benny Snell as a guy in my depth rotation. I do. I like that. I'm just saying. I don't have no beef with Benny Snell. But I don't know. He is, man, and that's what a lot of people are saying is, yeah, he's decent. And again, some people I want to know this too. In a little bit that you've seen, I can't overwhelmingly say that Ballage is better than Snell. Y'all are only saying that because you've seen a couple runs from Ballage and a couple catches. Let's be fair. Let's put it in its proper context. We've only seen a little bit of Ballage as a Steeler. Just a sample size. And this is what I'm saying. I'm just not that type of watcher of the team. I don't get gassed off of a few plays. I look at everything. You know what else Benny Snell does relatively well? Pass pro. All that stuff matters, man. Benny Snell cannot be used like Fast Willie Parker because of what you just included in Willie Parker's name. Benny Snell's not fast. What y'all talking about tonight, man? All right, I'm getting out of here. This was fun. I love it. I love hearing you guys' opinion. But yeah, I don't. All right, let me read one last one. I always like to read my man Still City because, Still City definitely breaks down his football. He knows what he's talking about. He says, I just don't think there's a reason he should make the roster with the amount of touches Najee's going to get and the fact that Ant Mac and Ballage is better. Okay, now, where I will slightly counter what Still City said is, I don't personally think from what I've seen that I can overwhelmingly say that Ballage and McFarland are better. However, I do like the potential that I see out of Ballage and McFarland. But the one point that you made, and this is why I like to get you guys to talk, Still City made a valid football point when he said the amount of touches that Najee is going to get. And by him throwing those other names in, we already know that Anthony McFarland, they're going to force the ball to him. So that could be a valid reason why Benny Snell doesn't make the team, is because of that. Right now, I really think it's going to be, obviously, Harris and McFarland are going to be the 1 and 2, is what I'm seeing. So therefore, could you, get rid of a Benny Snell and not keep 4 running backs or what have you, and gain another position somewhere else? Now, that I can rock with. I just can't rock with so many people just saying Benny Snell is trash. And I'm like, y'all got to stop with that. Y'all got to stop with that. The man ain't trash, man, in my opinion. But all right, this was a great talk, man. Let's get out of here. I'll catch you guys later. Y'all know the routine. Be safe. Be blessed. Take care of yourselves, man. And yeah, like I said, more than likely you won't see me on Tuesday. And I wish I would have remembered that last week, because then me and Kenyon could have got our steel table on. But this might even make it better now. The following week, we'll definitely do a steel table, because by that time we know exactly what the roster is, and by that time we will be, getting prepared for a football game, on a real one. So that'll be a great time to have a steel table. But outside of that, man, I hope you guys do one or 3 favors for me right here. That's all I need. Like button, subscribe, and cut on your notifications. And again, y'all be blessed, be well, have a great weekend, stay safe. And I thank you for tuning in to the Terrible Towel post-game show. Peace.